Welcome to Craziest Top 10s, the channel where we dive into the most thrilling and chilling stories you've ever heard. Here, we explore the darkest corners of history and the most spine-tingling tales that will keep you up at night. For the next 10 videos, we're counting down the top 10 scariest stories, each one based on true events. These are not just urban legends or campfire tales, these are real stories that have left a mark on those who experience them. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single terrifying tale. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming up next. The year was 2003. The city New Orleans, a place steeped in history, mystery, and more than its fair share of shadows. Known for its vibrant culture, jazz music, and the ever-present allure of the supernatural, New Orleans has always been a city that dances on the edge of the unknown. It was here in this city of whispers that an urban explorer named Jason decided to venture into the unknown. Jason was no stranger to the eerie and the abandoned. He had spent years exploring forgotten places, each with its own story to tell. His destination, an abandoned hospital, a place shrouded in darkness and whispered rumors of hauntings. This hospital, known as Mercy Hospital, had a reputation that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. This wasn't just any hospital. It was a place where the line between life and death had always been thin, where the veil between the living and the dead seemed almost transparent. Built in the early 1900s, it had once been a beacon of hope, a place where lives were saved and miracles happened. The hospital had seen countless births, recoveries, and moments of joy, but time, it seemed, had a cruel sense of humor. The once proud institution had fallen into disrepair, its walls now crumbling and its halls silent. The hospital, once bustling with life, had become a tomb of memories, its corridors echoing with the ghosts of its past. The laughter of children, the hurried footsteps of doctors, and the soft whispers of nurses were now replaced by an eerie silence. A series of tragic events, the whispers said, had led to the hospital's demise. Accidents, mysterious deaths, and a growing sense of dread had plagued the institution. Stories of medical mishaps, unexplained deaths, and patients claiming to have seen shadowy figures lurking in the halls. These tales had spread like wildfire, each more chilling than the last. The staff had tried to ignore the rumors, to rationalize the strange occurrences, but the fear had seeped into the very foundation of the building. Nurses reported feeling watched, doctors heard whispers in empty rooms, and patients experienced unexplainable phenomena. One by one, doctors and nurses left, unable to bear the oppressive atmosphere any longer. The hospital's once dedicated staff found themselves unable to continue their work amidst the growing fear. Patients, too, refused to be admitted, their fear outweighing their need for medical attention. The hospital's reputation had become a barrier to its very purpose. The once bustling hospital fell silent, its doors closing for what everyone thought was the last time. The building was left to decay, a silent witness to its own tragic history. Decades passed, and the hospital stood forgotten, a decaying monument to a bygone era. Nature began to reclaim the structure, vines creeping up its walls and roots breaking through the floors. Vines crept up its crumbling walls, their tendrils like skeletal fingers reaching out to claim the building as their own. The once sterile environment was now a canvas for nature's relentless march. The windows, once sparkling clean, were now boarded up, hiding the secrets that lay within. The hospital's interior, once filled with light and life, was now cloaked in darkness. Jason, an avid explorer of the abandoned and forgotten, had heard the stories, of course. He had spent countless hours researching the hospital, piecing together its history from old records and photographs. He'd seen the pictures online, the grainy images of dilapidated rooms and shadowy figures lurking in the background. Each image told a story, each shadow hinted at a presence unseen. But Jason was a man of logic, a skeptic by nature. He approached each new location with a critical eye, seeking to debunk the myths and legends that surrounded them. He didn't believe in ghosts, in the supernatural. To him, every story had a rational explanation, every shadow a source. He believed in evidence, in tangible proof. His explorations were driven by a desire to uncover the truth, to separate fact from fiction. And so, armed with his camera and a healthy dose of skepticism, he set out to document the hospital, to separate fact from fiction. His goal was to capture the reality of the place, to see if there was any truth to the stories. As he approached the hospital, a shiver ran down his spine. The building seemed to exude a palpable sense of dread, its very presence unsettling. The building seemed to loom over him, its shadow stretching out like a dark omen. The hospital's facade, once welcoming, now appeared menacing. The air grew heavy, thick with the smell of decay and something else, something ancient and unsettling. It was as if the very atmosphere was charged with the weight of the past. It was as if the very walls were watching him, their empty windows like vacant eyes following his every move. The hospital seemed to be alive, its presence almost sentient.
This is the abandoned Mercy Hospital, a place where they say the dead still walk the halls. The stories of hauntings and ghostly apparitions have persisted for years, each tale adding to the hospital's dark legend. A place where they say the dead still walk the halls. The very air seemed to hum with the energy of those who had passed, their spirits lingering in the shadows.
As he spoke, a cold draught swept through the corridor, stirring the dust and sending a shiver down his spine. The temperature seemed to drop, the air growing colder with each step. Jason turned, his eyes scanning the shadows, but there was nothing there. The silence was deafening, each creak and groan of the building amplified in the stillness.
Just the wind, he muttered, trying to convince himself, but the feeling of being watched persisted, an unseen presence lurking just out of sight.
He muttered, trying to convince himself. But deep down, a primal fear began to stir within him. The hospital's oppressive atmosphere seemed to press in on him, each step growing heavier. But deep down, a primal fear began to stir within him. The hospital's oppressive atmosphere seemed to press in on him, each step growing heavier. The shadows seemed to move, shifting and changing as if alive. He continued down the hallway, his footsteps echoing in the silence. Each step seemed to reverberate through the empty halls, the sound magnified in the stillness. The walls were lined with peeling paint, revealing glimpses of the hospital's former glory. The once bright colors were now faded and cracked, a testament to the passage of time. Here, a faded mural of a smiling nurse holding a newborn baby. The image, once a symbol of hope and new beginnings, now seemed haunting and out of place. There, a framed poster reminding visitors to wash their hands. The simple message, once a routine reminder, now seemed eerie in the context of the abandoned hospital. Each image, once a symbol of hope and healing, now served as a grim reminder of the hospital's tragic fate. The remnants of the past were everywhere, each one telling a story of a time long gone. As he reached the end of the hallway, he noticed a door slightly ajar. The door seemed to beckon him, inviting him to uncover the secrets it held. Curiosity piqued, he slowly pushed it open, his camera rolling. The door creaked on its hinges, the sound echoing through the empty halls. The room was small and cramped, barely lit by the sliver of light coming from the hallway. The darkness seemed to press in, the shadows deep and impenetrable. A rusty bed frame lay in the corner, its mattress stripped bare, revealing its decaying springs. The bed, once a place of rest and recovery, now seemed like a relic of a forgotten time. On the wall, someone had scrawled a message in what looked like blood-red paint. The letters were jagged and uneven, as if written in haste. "Get out," it read, the letters dripping down the wall like tears. The message was clear, a warning to anyone who dared to enter. Jason's heart pounded in his chest. The message, combined with the oppressive atmosphere, sent a wave of fear through him. He could feel his palms growing clammy, his breath catching in his throat. The fear was almost tangible, a physical presence that seemed to wrap around him. He knew he should turn back, leave this place while he still could. The rational part of his mind screamed at him to leave, to escape the growing sense of dread, but something, perhaps a morbid curiosity or a subconscious desire to prove his skepticism wrong, compelled him to stay. The hospital's dark allure was too strong to resist. He took a step closer, his camera focused on the message on the wall. The letters seemed to pulse with a life of their own, the red paint almost glowing in the dim light. As he did, he heard a noise, a soft, almost imperceptible sound like someone sighing right next to his ear. The sound was so faint he almost thought he had imagined it. A soft, almost imperceptible sound like someone sighing right next to his ear. The sound was so faint he almost thought he had imagined it. But the chill that ran down his spine told him otherwise. He froze, his blood turning to ice. The hospital, it seemed, was not as empty as it appeared. The shadows seemed to grow darker, almost as if they have a life of their own, the air heavier with each passing second, thick with an unspoken dread. Could you handle a night in that hospital? The walls whisper secrets of the past, and the very air seems to hum with the energy of those who once walked its halls. Stay tuned for our next video where we uncover another story that will send shivers down your spine. Remember to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think happened here?